Good morning, Ultimate Family. Coming at you from downtown St. Petersburg, Florida. Got my coffee. Doing a little car edition of the Facebook Live today. And the topic today is self-promotion. Self-promotion. So, the topic, this conversation really was sparked from a conversation I had this week. Somebody from the Facebook group reached out to me. They'd wanted to chat. And not going to share any names. It's not relevant. And we had a wonderful conversation. Good morning, whoever's here. We're talking self-promotion today. The person had reached out, wanted to talk. We got on a call, and the Cliff Notes version here is that they wanted to ask me about how it was that I was able to be such a self-promoter, which is an interesting question, because the assumption is that I am a self-promoter. Hey, Brian. You're going to like this one, Brian, because this is a really interesting one. So the conversation started with, I want to understand how you're such a self-promoter. And it was a very gentle, curious inquiry. And the person shared very, very openly that it had taken a bit to work up to this conversation for them, because originally when they would see my videos, it would have a negative, hi Lindsay, negative reaction for them. They said, I couldn't even watch them for a while. I would just see you and I'd have to shut it off because I know you're such a self-promoter. I was like, oh, that's interesting. Now, one of the most important aspects of, let's say, playing at the level of being, right? We're part of this Ultimate Coach Facebook group. This is all about the book of being. Hint, hint. All of my videos, I try to talk about being and create value about being. But the most important thing about playing at the level of being is acknowledging that everything looks real to everybody from who they're being, from where they're looking, right? Now, you might be tempted. Somebody says, wow, you're really a self-promoter, whether they're saying it nicely or as an insult. You might be tempted to say, well, no, I'm not. Let me tell you why I'm not, and kind of argue about it. Well, that's really futile because, well, from where they're seeing it, from who they're being, that's how you look, right? That's how I looked. And I tend to get really curious, right? Really wanting to understand, how is it that they're seeing me? Where are they looking from? What do they see? Because then I can serve, right? I'm not going to convince somebody, if I wanted to do that, I'm not a self-promoter, by telling them why I'm not, by giving them evidence. From where they're looking, what they see is a self-promoter. What I would need to do, if I wanted to serve them, was help them see the situation from a different angle, if I wanted to do that. Very important. That's one of the funny things about, you see people arguing about stuff all the time. Politics, absurd. Any one of you who ever gets into a conversation, even a conversation trying to explain to somebody your political views, realize they're watching it, they're in a different movie theater. I know you think they're watching the same movie. They're not. They're in a whole different movie theater on a different part of town. Right? Yeah, I know you're both watching what you think is the same movie, but it's not. So this whole idea of arguing things with people doesn't make sense. So I got really curious, and it was only when I felt like I was really able to see the world through their eyes. Oh, I see what they're seeing, right? Really see, that's the issue of being, and still, to me, it's being, it's still self-promoting. Well, so let's talk about that, Brian. What is self-promotion? Right? Is self-promotion saying I'm a coach? Is self-promotion saying I charge $100,000 a year? Is self-promotion saying I have some group programs? Those are facts. I would suggest it's the state of being. You are saying these words that matters. Here's the deal. I haven't been on Facebook in probably a decade. I have no desire to be on Facebook at all. I can't stand Facebook. I came back to Facebook because Steve, my coach, said, get your ass on Facebook and share some of the stuff that's going on for you. And what he said to me was, first of all, that's valuable for other people. Second of all, transformation occurs in the speaking of the transformation. You want more transformation? Speak about it. So I said, aye, Captain, I'm on Facebook. So I'm on Facebook. And I had this whole thing in my own head, like, well, isn't that self-promoting? I'm talking about my transformation. It's like I'm really cool. And Steve gave me this distinction. He goes, well, are you trying to serve, right? Yeah, Brian, I get it. You know, just getting into life insurance. And what I would suggest is everybody needs life insurance. You don't need to worry about talking about life insurance and that you sell life insurance to get people to talk to you about life insurance. You can let it be known that you sell life insurance, but what are you coming here to talk about and how are you coming here to serve people? So are you coming and showing up to serve with a message that's valuable for other people, or are you coming to sell? When I speak, and this is to anybody, this is on a Facebook group, this is if I'm sitting in front of somebody who might want to be a client of mine, I am never trying to sell them. The last thing on my mind is how do I get them as a client? Now that might sound somewhat counterintuitive, but to me it's a critical state of being if you want to be successful. And it's been my whole life, right? When I've had $4 sitting in the bank, not sure if I'll be able to pay my rent, I still would sit across from somebody to serve them, and I'd worry about, I'm not worried about the money. If the money doesn't show up, I won't pay rent, I'll be on the street, we'll deal with that later. Right now I'm here to serve. That to me is absolutely critical. So it's kind of simple from a distinction standpoint. You don't need to worry about being a self-promoter, just show up to serve. And along the way, you can certainly let people know what you're up to. You can let people know how they can get a hold of you if they want to. It's called creating an invitation to learn more about this. But if it's like, I'm following these steps and here's the funnel and then you say, and here's where you make the ask, that's cockeyed, man. All this stuff online and all these programs for coaches and other people about how to convert high value clients, it's leading people down the wrong path. Man, Rich Litvin said it best in Prosperous Coach years ago. Just show up and serve your ass off. The rest takes care of itself. Go listen to something that a guy named Trevor says. He put a post up out on the group here talking about a transformation. He spent the first 10 minutes talking about me. I don't need to promote myself. I go and I transform. I serve people powerfully. I show up to serve, but only always. Now, I don't get too far afield here because the original part of the conversation was like this person approached me and said, hey, I don't really like your style. You're very self-promoting. And I want to be very specific. It was a lovely conversation. This person had done their work to, yeah, Brian, I get it. So here's the thing. Who would you need to be to not be stressed about money? And I don't mean you need to be somebody with money in the bank, right? You can work on your state of being to focus on serving and trusting that the money would show up. That would be a shift in the state of being. And again, I get from where you look, it looks scary. Who would you need to be for it not to look scary? You need to be somebody who goes, everything's going to be okay. I don't know how old you are. I can't see your photo, but like you made it here, right? What makes you think you're going to fall off the edge of a cliff and die at some point? Everything's going to come crashing down. Well, the thoughts in your head. So again, beautiful exploration of being. How could you shift your being to say, I'm not gonna worry about this. I'm gonna show up to serve and let the rest take care of itself. 38, yeah, man, you made it 38 years in this world, and you still got the thoughts in your head saying, oh, it's all gonna come crashing down. I'm gonna be broke. You know what? You're not gonna be broke. If you're down to your last couple bucks, you're gonna get thrown out. Call me. I'll send you some money. Seriously, dude. I mean it. What are you there to serve? Who are you there to serve? How can you serve them? There's so much money out there. There's so much opportunity. And you got to tell people who you are in the world. So I got a lot of conversations going on. It is your birthday present. Whatever you need, dude. You're sitting in front of a human being. They need something. You're not talking to them by accident. You have to be okay serving them, and then you have to be okay making an invitation, right? And a lot of this takes some time to put together, right? I'm 53. I've been doing this a long time. I've always thought of myself as an expert in sales, right? That was the career I had, consulting companies on selling. And I always approached selling from you start by serving. So for me, selling was never a technique. How do you extract money? It's how do I generate value such that value will be returned to me, right? If I create value in the world, God, consciousness, the universe sends it back my way. I promise that. That is universal. It doesn't always come directly. I serve this person, maybe that person brings me money. I don't worry about it. Could use the help, but hate to ask. Oh, Brian, send me a message. We'll talk, man. So, this person had an issue with my self-promotion. Not an issue. She saw me as self-promoting. Got it. My first job is, can I see the world from how they're seeing it? Once I can, truly, not like, oh, I see what she's seeing, I see what he's seeing, no, I get it, right? This Townsend thing, to some people is going to show up as, man, that guy's an arrogant prick. Man, that guy's just out for himself. Man, that guy's just talking about his coaching and his clients and how much he charges. Man, he just wants more clients. Like I said, I ain't on here for clients. I'm not on Facebook. I'm not part of this group for clients. I'm on this group because I have some incredible things to share, and this is a beautiful forum to share that with. I work with Steve Hardison every 2 weeks. I make a huge investment there, and it seems to me only fit to come and say, hey, let me tell you what I'm getting from this guy. You guys read his book. Here's some other stuff about him. Here's some other stuff I learned. You can have that. Trust me, I ain't coming here for clients. So here's where it gets really fun. Because in the conversation with this individual, what we got to talk about, once I was able to see the world from how they were seeing it, right? Really get it. Not now I'm trying to convince them they're wrong. I'm trying to tell them they're looking at it wrong. But once I really get it, I can create an invitation. Would you be interested in taking a different look at things? And then I began to unpack with this person how I've always hated self-promotion. I've hated talking about myself. I've hated bragging about the results I create. I truly have hated that. I want people just to know who this is and what I'm up to, and that I'm here for good and here to serve, and all the powerful results I've created. I want people to know that, right? Without having to do the work. And what I got to see time and time again was it doesn't work that way. And there was a story I shared with this individual that I'll share with you. Last year, about this time, I had an introduction made to a gentleman from a mutual friend. This person said, hey, you got to talk to this guy. He could really use your help. This woman who made the introduction knows who I am, knows what I'm up to, knows the kind of work I do. She said, you got to talk to this guy. So we had a nice conversation. Spent about an hour. It was on a Friday. At the end of the conversation, he's in. He's going to work with me. He's going to send me a check. Cool. Fantastic. Now, I'll tell you this. I know for a fact, as the truth, from my perspective, there is nobody on the planet that could serve this human in the situation he was in better than I. Everything he's facing, I'm like, I get this dude. He's about to turn 60. He doesn't know if he wants to sell his company. Doesn't know if he wants to stay married. He got all sorts of these important decisions. I'm like, I got you, brother. God sent me here to talk to you, just so you know. I didn't say that to him that way. But, hey, Jen, good morning. But I knew I was there to serve him. So that's Friday. He's in. I'm going to send you a check. We'll figure out dates. Monday, I think it was Monday, I sent him a message. Hey, here's a video to watch. Looking forward to working together. By the way, here's some suggested dates. I get a message back. Hey, Townsend, I've been thinking a lot this weekend. And, what you charge is a lot of money. And I found somebody else who's going to do it for $250 an hour. And, yeah, so, I'm good. Now, I spent 2-3 days talking shit about him. What an idiot. He's blowing it. I can't believe this. This is his life on the line. And he's not making the right choice. I had all sorts of things to say about him. And then I said, well, wait a minute. Saying about him, how is it that I allowed this guy to not know the difference between somebody says, oh, I got an ICF certification and I'll charge $250 an hour, and me, right? If he can't tell the difference, well, that's on me. If he walked away and said, well, there's this Townsend guy and there's somebody they look the same to me, then he would be a moron to write me a check. He'd be a moron to write me a big fat check when we can get the same thing, right? You're sitting at a grocery store, two brands, one's $10, one's $1, they're the same thing to you. Well, you're going to take the cheaper one. It's not the consumer's fault you can't tell the difference. It's whoever put that on the shelf. I had failed to make it clear to this individual who I was in the world, how powerfully I served, and how uniquely qualified I was to help him in arguably the most important time of his life, right? I didn't create myself powerfully for him, right? I did all the good coachy questions and thoughtful looks and pauses or whatever the crap we're supposed to do. And then I said, okay, what do you want? We're going to create that. And whoever he talked to the day after me did the same thing, right? What I didn't do, which I do these days, if I'm going to try to enroll somebody, if I'm going to make an invitation and say, hey, we should work together, what I didn't do then, but I do now, is extensively and painstakingly unpack who it is that will be inviting him to something. So if I had to rewind, and I'm sharing this story with the person that I talked to last week, so you guys are catching the replay or go back to it. We're talking about self-promotion. Somebody had reached out to me and kind of had an issue with me self-promoting here in the group. Now, it's a beautiful conversation, and I honored that they had done their work and the courage it took to reach out and say, I just want to have a conversation about it. Like, not like you're doing this, it's wrong, but like, I want to understand. So very cool. Kudos to this person. So that's the topic, self-promotion. What I'm sharing this moment is, you're not self-promoting enough, probably, right? I had this little rule, and the rule is that guy never has to worry about being that guy, right? This concept of, I don't want to be that guy, right? Well, this is sort of like self-promotion. I don't want to be that self-promoter. If the thought occurs in your head, well, I don't want to be too self-promoting, I can promise you, you're not only not being self-promoting, you need to promote yourself more so people know who they're hearing from, right? When I say like, oh, here's an idea for you, guys, in the Facebook group. You have no idea who I am. I'm just some, gray-haired old white dude, right? Thinking big thoughts. Unless I tell you, actually, I work with Steve Hardison. I've been working with him for 18 months. I worked with Rich Litton before that. I worked with Michael Neal. Let me tell you about some of the clients I've served. Let me tell you about some of the work I've done internally. Let me tell you about what I've gone through in my life. Let me tell you the powerful results I've created. Let me tell you about the millions, hundreds of millions of dollars I've created for human beings on this planet through helping them grow and sell their companies. Let me tell you about the billions of dollars that I've created into the world for projects and endowments and foundations to create good in the world. When I tell you all that, well, then you know who you're talking to. You know who's speaking to you. You know who's giving you his thoughts. And you don't have to take them. I know Coffee with Townsend is great, right? I get more excited the more coffee kicks in. We could probably graph my volume over the cup of the coffee. People need to know who it is that's making the invitation. People need to know who's giving them their thoughts. People need to know who's saying, I can help you. Good morning, Lori. Good morning, Adrian. Otherwise, they think you're just, as Werner Erhard says, some guy in a diner. Go listen to Matters of the Heart if you haven't. It's great. It's one of a very early Werner Erhard enrollment conversation. It's an introduction to the forum. Those guys, you probably know landmarks from you guys. All right, Brian, have a great day, brother. He goes to great pains to make sure the audience knows that he knows what he's speaking about when it comes to this thing called being a human being. Great. If you haven't listened to the audio, Matters of the Heart, Werner Erhard, it'll blow your mind open. It's about 3 hours, 2.5 hours long. I took 60 pages of notes on that thing. So we started talking about, so I'm now back to the conversation that prompted all this earlier in the week. Somebody reached out, wanted to chat about me being a self-promoter. So what I was sharing with this person was the story I was sharing with you, this idea that self-promotion is absolutely critical if you want people to take you seriously, if you want people to actually believe that you are qualified, capable of serving them. And again, it's not about, is that guy self-promoting? It's not the words coming out of my mouth, right? I would suggest it's the state of being that one shows up with, right? If I am showing up and speaking words like, here's what I do, here's my accomplishment, because what I want is for people to like me, be impressed with me, call me, give me business, I need money, well, that can show up as self-promotion. I'm still not saying it's not wrong. Some people do that and it's required. That said, if you show up always and only to serve, you ready? It is impossible for you to be such a thing as arrogant. It ain't arrogance, because it's all directed at, intended at, intentional towards, from a place of being called, I want to serve you, right? Money that shows up that's an after effect. That is an effect that might happen, might not. The less you worry about that stuff, right? This wasn't really what I was going to talk about today, but I think one of the most critical states of being to develop is a non-attachment to how this works out, right? It's like you need to find whatever scoreboard you're using for your life or your coaching and throw it away, because it's only slowing you down. And I love when people are like, oh, well, that's easy for you to say, I'm non-attachment outcome, you make so much money, you do great, you charge $100,000 a year. Yeah, no shit, but it wasn't always that way. I've been like this since I had nothing. I had less than nothing. In 2009, my whole life scraped to the ground. Shut down a company, bankruptcy, divorce, all sorts of bad stuff. My ex was trying to get me thrown in jail. And by the way, I don't blame her. I would have tried to get me thrown in jail. I was kind of a dick. Not kind of a dick. I was really a dick. You know, the universe decided I was going to smash my face in the ground for a few years until I really kind of woke up to, not being that way. But the point is, I've always had an intention to serve. And I was saying a little earlier in this conversation, it didn't matter if I had there were conversations I remember sitting across from somebody. In fact, I was meeting with a dude. I just talked to him yesterday. It was really funny. I've known this guy for 20 years. I was having coffee with him, and he was asking how things are going. And it was like he'd been a client in the past, and he might be a client. I was just sitting down to talk with him and see how I can serve him. That's it. When I show up, it's to serve. I'm sitting across from a human being. There's some reason I'm there to help them. I'm going to find it. I'm not worried about how I'm going to get paid for it. That always happens. So this was probably 2010 or 11. I don't know. Maybe 12. And we're in a coffee shop. And this dude I'm talking to has got lots of money. I got $4 in the bank account. And I remember one point he's like, so how are things going? I was like, well, things are all right. I got, my rent's paid. I got groceries. And I got like $4 left till my next check comes in. I'm not sure what's going to come in, but it'll come in. He's like, he starts twitching. He's like, I want to give you some money. I'm like, dude, I'm good, man. I don't need anybody to give me any money. The universe will take care of me. I'm just going to keep doing what I'm doing, and it'll all work out. And it does work out. I left the individual who prompted this whole conversation with an invitation, like an assignment, but it was an invitation. Hey, Jenny. And I said, if you'd like to accept it, what I'd like to challenge you is, and I got this assignment, it was on the group someplace, I can't remember who came up with this, it's not my exercise, Steve gave it to somebody, because it was Steve then. What are all the things you would like to be acknowledged for? Because I could tell, speaking with this person, they're an incredibly, it does always work out, doesn't it, Nora? No matter how hard we try to scare ourselves and tell ourselves it ain't going to work out, it always works out. It's so funny. We're always trying so hard to make sure it's going to work out. And it always does. So I said, Get out a piece of paper and start writing all the things you would acknowledge yourself for. Right? And where this is going, and I said, if you do this, we'll talk again, blah, 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 I'd love to help you. This isn't a client. This is not someone who's ever going to write me a $100,000 check. And they show up in my life and I serve them. That's my state of being. That's my absolute commitment. I'm committed to serving every human being God puts in front of me. And it works out. So where this is going is, I really like this person to get a look at how powerful they are and all the things they wish somebody else would acknowledge them for. And then the next time they're talking to somebody, start with that. Hey, before we start speaking, I want to tell you who you're sitting across from, right? That'd be like the most uncomfortable thing for somebody that thinks other people are self-promoting, wouldn't it? But it's powerful. So if you wrestle with self-promotion, well, I would give you the same assignment. Get out a piece of paper, start writing all the things you would want somebody to know about you, right? That if they knew, they would actually listen to you. They would take you seriously. They would be like, this is somebody who, when they tell me something, I should be writing it down. It always used to frustrate me. I'd be talking and saying stuff and somebody wouldn't be writing it down. I'm thinking, why aren't they writing it down? And the answer is, because you didn't tell them why they need to be writing it down. You didn't tell them who's going to be telling them, right? I love watching Steve Hardison talk because people are taking furious notes all over the place. You know why? Because he says, you're going to want to write this down. Let me tell you who I am in the world. He's not shy about that. And still, some people go, oh, that guy's a self-promoter. Go check out the Amazon reviews of the book. It cracks me up. Some punk's got a 1-star review up there saying, this book is the biggest scam. It's just an excuse to sell $2,000 an hour coaching. Well, guess what? It's $4,000 an hour coaching, not $2,000. And I love that review because somebody sees that and it's true for them. So write down all the stuff you want to be acknowledged for, all the incredible things you do in your life, right? I bet if I said, write all the screw-ups in the last week, you could write a freaking thesis on that. But if I said, write down all the things you did that were incredible, how you powerfully serve people and the results it produced, you'd be like, I don't know, right? So fix that. Don't try to figure it out in the moment. Get a piece of paper and really start writing, what have I done? How have I served people powerfully? And then the next time you're talking to somebody or going to talk to somebody, maybe share a couple of those things. Yeah. And Nora, great point. If they would only know, well, they would have to be listening from the right place. And some people are never going to listen from the right place. And that's okay. It's not our job to convert everybody and get them to be like, oh, make them like Steve. We need people going, that guy's a con artist. That's just how the world works. That's true from who they're being. And it makes for a great example in a story like this. How could we get all excited about it if we couldn't say, well, look at this guy. That's true for him. But somebody thinks he's scamming people for $2,000 accounts. They can't even do the math right. So yeah, back to you guys. You want to shift your state of being. Well, you're going to have to start speaking into the world things about you that are powerful, how you've served others for yourself, and then you're going to have to share that with somebody else, right? Whatever you're doing, whether you're a coach, enrolling a client, whether you're, working at a company, going to your boss with an idea. Here's my formula. If I got 30 minutes to present to somebody, this you want to be writing down. If I got 30 minutes to speak to somebody about an idea, right? I got 30 minutes on the calendar and I want them to say yes to an idea. If I got 30 minutes, the first 10 minutes, I'm going to create them. Let me tell you who I'm going to be inviting to something. I'm going to create them. Here's how I see you in the world. Here's the things you've done that I want to acknowledge you for. I'm going to create them powerfully for them. I'm not just going to dump the idea, whether it's, I want you to coach with me, or I want to get a raise, or I think we should, open up a new store in Botswana, whatever. I'm going to create you so you know how I see you. Then I'll spend the next 19 minutes creating myself. Now, let me tell you who I am that's going to be proposing something to you in a few moments. And I don't give a shit if I've known you for 20 years. I'm going to create myself and I'm going to remind you how powerful I am. how committed I am, how loving I am, how caring I am. I'm going to do all that. And then in the last minute, I'll say, oh yeah, and here's the idea I think we should do. And they're going to say yes, because I've created the right environment for it. Somebody else is going, that guy's a real self-promoter. I'm going, no, I'm somebody who knows how to get an idea done. I don't let the idea try and sell itself, because ideas are shit. Proposals are shit. Presentations are shit. Dime a dozen. It's who's proposing and who you're proposing to. All right. Who's ready for a great day? Thanks for watching, guys. As always, I'm here. Reach out if you got questions or any way I can support you. Have an amazing day.